Hey guys, Blake here with Turn 8 Reviews. Here's a vehicle that I'm reviewing today. It's a 2011 Audi A3 2-liter turbo engine. This car is my personal daily driver, so it's nothing extraordinary. I haven't done anything aftermarket to it for you VW Audi guys. And the only things that I've really done to it that would be noticeable is the paint on the wheels, mirrors, and the emblems there. And I'll go ahead and I'll walk around and I'll show you more in depth what that is and how that looks. This is the facelift version of the Audi A3. So this is the 8P body style, and the facelift version, what they did was they changed the front bumper here, and walk up close to it, you can kind of see, if you ever compare this to the older 2006 to 2008 body style of the 8P, you'll notice that the bumper is significantly different. Also, one notable change is the headlights. Now they did put xenon headlights on this with the LED trim, and those are the LED running lights right there. You can see those are always on. I think it looks really good. It was something pretty cool that they did for the update. The other headlights, no offense to anybody that owns an older one, I think they look kind of ugly. So going along with some of the custom things that I've done to it, and custom being just paint, I did gray out the chrome grille trim here, and you can see all the way around. I had it plasti dipped, and I actually ended up doing that myself. And also the Audi emblem here. I just don't like chrome that much. Chrome is kind of a little flashy for me, so I wanted to do away with that. Now let's focus in on these wheels. Now these are the Audi S-Line wheels. They came with the S-Line package. You can see there by the little logo here, or the emblem. Now the S-Line wheels, I think they look good on their own, but they came in a hyper silver color, and silver wheels on a silver car did not really roll that well with me, so I had to do something about that and changed it. So we'll go ahead and look here at the side view mirrors. Both of the mirrors are this color. They're a bright silver aluminum color. I had that done because I like the look of the S3 mirrors. It definitely makes it look like an S3 due to the fact that the S3 looks no different, except for it's got a different engine in it. And here we go, we'll move out to the right side of the car. Overall, I think the profile on this car is, I think it looks pretty good. There's not too much bad to say about it, that's for sure. Not as aggressive as an STI, but you know, Audi did bring this car together very well as a hatchback. Now the sedans on the new body styles, I don't think they look nearly as good as the sedans or as the hatchbacks that are overseas, but you know, we're not going to get those. So looking here, you can see this accent line that Audi kind of put here, going all the way from the front to the back of the car here. Sorry if there's any wind noise for you guys. I'm trying a new audio setup. But yeah, again, that's that line that runs from front to the rear, and that always seems to bring cars together. Just something notable. A lot of people don't think about things like that, but if you look at it, it kind of does wrap up the car from front to rear, brings the whole body together, and just something design-wise that I think looks pretty darn good. Just something notable is the roof. The whole roof on this car is actually black, and you can see here these two panels. These are the sunroofs. I have a big panoramic sunroof right here. This is the rear moon roof, and this is not this isn't glass. Audi just blacked out the rest. I'm guessing for aesthetics. I think it looks pretty good, especially in contrast to the silver. Again, going with that theme, dark to light, I think that looks really good. And one thing to say is I apologize for my car being dirty, guys, but I haven't had a lot of time today. It's been a pretty busy day. So, but also this whole rear spoiler is gloss black as well, and you know, again, I think that looks really good. Alright guys, so here is the rear of the vehicle. I think it looks really good. I think it looks like a pretty decent hatchback. I think the bumper can kind of be sized in a little bit. It could be shrunken a little bit. It looks kind of big to me in comparison to some of the sporty hatchbacks out there, but just a small complaint, and you know, it's just kind of wide, I think. But one of the things with the S-Line package, now that was a pretty expensive package from the factory, $4,000 or $5,000. I didn't buy the car new, so luckily I didn't have to bite that bullet. But you can see here, it's just got a special diffuser, and anything without the S-Line, that's a solid piece of plastic that runs across. You know, I think this looks a lot better, looks more sporty, going along with that S-Line theme. But there is the only chrome on this car, guys. The tailpipes, those are going to go away soon. I'll have some darker ones on there eventually. But So one thing that I do like, guys, especially because I live in a city, Dallas, Texas, it has these parking sensors. Now the parking sensors on a small car, some people think those kind of defeat the purpose of having a small car. Not really. I really appreciate having these things on there. Again, this just came with the car. It wasn't like I bought the car brand new, but living in a city, backing into some tight parking spots, those always come in handy. We can look at the taillights. I don't know if you can make them out very well, but on these taillights, they have the LED trim pieces all the way around, and that kind of, you know, goes along with what Audi was doing when they did the facelift and now they've got it on almost every vehicle, if I'm not mistaken. But these will light up when you have your headlights on at night. Looks awesome, actually. They make the car look slightly more aggressive, but it also makes it look more high-end. I think it wraps up that facelift that they did really well, going along with the LEDs on the front. Just starting out, let's look here at the driver's door panel. Now, one thing that Audi did in this vehicle, and I don't know if it was part of the S-Line package or not, but these aluminum pieces right here that are on all the four doors, and there's also aluminum trim on the vents. You can see that here on this the light handle or the light knob. It looks really good, and I think it makes the car look a little bit more high-end. But be warned, these textured door panels, they're about $250 a piece, and you can see mine's a little scratched up. Luckily, I don't care that much, but if yours are damaged really bad, $250 a piece for one of these. But this car does have the Bose sound system. It's an 11-speaker sound system, including the subwoofer. Sounds fantastic. I think it's the best sound system that Audi has in any of their cars. I would compare it to some of the cars like Mercedes, some of their sound systems. I mean, for a 2011, I think that this car has an unrivaled sound system for sure. Alright, so guys, here, let's go ahead and get on the inside and see how we like these seats. Now, these are black leather seats, and the leather on these things is, it's probably some of the best leather that I've felt on any car, for that matter, and I've sat in quite a few cars. But you can see here, this car is 60,000 miles, and there's a few little wrinkles here, but I don't believe that the last owner really took care of the leather as well as he or she should have. But you know, I'm working on that. But it's not cracking. You can just see it's from where it's been sat on so much, and I'm working on getting this fixed. I've started using a new leather care kit, and it works really well. But again, this leather, it's really robust, and honestly, I could say that this leather, it feels new. The only piece that doesn't is again the piece that my fat ass sits on every time I get in this car. Now, if you can see it, this has gray stitching. Now, all the seats have this gray stitching running along the sides and running on the headrests here. You know, it's pretty nice. It's just something else I wasn't really expecting with this car, but again, that gray stitching really, it just adds an extra feature to the car, makes it look a little bit more high end. So well, let's go ahead and crawl on in. Alright guys, so here is the steering wheel. Nothing really special here. Something that I actually prefer, and I'm glad that the car had, is this perforated like leather piece here at the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock position. Just something really nice. It feels really good. It's very solid. So this steering wheel definitely has a great feel to it. It's very comfortable. You know, it's not scrawny, that's for sure. Alright, so here's a look at the gauges, guys. Nothing really special here. They're very simple. I actually like the more simple look, but nothing, again, really notable here. The LCD display in the center will display your station. It'll actually display who you're talking to on the phone if they're in your contact list. It does your active fuel economy right there, and you can toggle through a couple of different modes. But let's touch on the steering wheel just a little bit more. So the steering wheel, it has a few button controls, but it's very simple. So all in all, there's actually 4 buttons. Now each one of these little scroll wheels serves as a button as well. And then you have your 2 side buttons here and here. Now your voice command in this car, that is something rather big that I have to gripe about. It's very good at picking up on your voice and very good at hearing what you're saying, but the typical dialogue that you would have with I guess a normal modern car that has voice control, this car is not as advanced. It's not as smart or intelligent, so it's very limited in what you have to say and how you say it. So just something to note there. But this scroll wheel is also a push button. I don't know what it does, but it also scrolls up and down. It'll control the volume in your car. And over here you have your mode button, and I don't know what it does. It just shows contacts. Don't know why, but yeah, that's all that I know that it does. And this is obviously right here. This is also a push button. This is how you answer and hang up on phone calls. And also this is how you tune your radio stations, AM, FM, and satellite radio. And I think you can use it to tune through CDs, but nobody uses CDs anymore, so I can't tell you if that's actually true or not. So I have my sunroof open, and this thing, guys, is freaking awesome. I really love the sunroof. I think it's just something awesome that I wasn't expecting to get with the car. And you can see it takes up most of the driver and passenger side front roof here. Also, let's go ahead and look at the back. The back has a rather big moonroof as well, and that it's probably wider than most sunroofs, and but it's a little bit narrower. But again, just something nice for anybody that rides in the back, you know. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the radio and the climate control and the shifter. So starting with the radio. Very simple interface, nothing special about it. You know, you can change CD tracks here and here. This is obviously your CD feed, not a multi-disc CD player. This is just single disc. But you can go to your AM, FM, satellite radio, CD, and if you hold the CD button down, it actually brings you to your auxiliary jack connection. So here's the auxiliary jack that I just mentioned, guys. It's located underneath the center console armrest. Now going back to the entertainment system here, you can adjust, obviously, you can adjust your stereo controls. You can save 3 separate lists of radio stations in FM, AM, and satellite radio. That's more than, I would say, the average car, but nothing too special. You know, traction control button is here. Hazards are right here. Well, let's go ahead and move down to the climate controls. Now, the climate controls are pretty simple. These knobs don't actually physically rotate up and down. They just click one to the left and for down 1 degree and one to the right for up 1 degree. And if you hold, it'll actually go through those numbers a little bit more quickly. All right, so hey guys, here is the shifter. Now this has the s-tronic dual clutch 6-speed transmission. And this transmission is pretty awesome, and the shifter is relatively simple to use. Nothing really outstanding or anything that's too difficult to understand with it. All right, so let's hop on out and go take a peek at the rear of the car. All right, so here's a view of the rear passenger or the rear driver's side door, guys. The last owner was not very mindful of their car. You know, you can see this car was a little dinged up. But again, that doesn't really impact my impression of the car. You know, nothing notable about the rear passenger door, simple door controls. It is worth saying that all of the window controls in this car are all automatic, so they all one press up, one press down. Just something that I like, and I thought was a little bit more upscale. Here's a view at the back seats, guys. Nothing, again, too notable. These weren't really sat in a lot by the previous owner. I've only had the car for about 4 months now, and the leather in these is good as new. It's nice plush and solid still. Something else that I like about it is this center console piece actually folds on down. You get storage, and also you have your cup holders here. They fold out and actually work really well. I've used them for like protein shake cups and all that crap, and they retain drinks pretty well. But just something cool. Most cars don't have that storage area right here. This one does, and you know, it's convenient for passengers if they're ever on a road trip with you. All right, so sorry for the mess, guys, but you can see this rear hatch space is relatively large. I've got quite a bit of junk back here and still have plenty of room to throw some more. Now, one thing that comes standard in these cars are these cargo covers. They simply hook in right here, and right here and you can actually unhook them, and that way it stays down all the time, or you can hook them. I like to leave mine hooked, so I don't have to deal with it. But that comes standard on all vehicles. And one of the little things that I like about it is it has a grocery bag hook right here, and you can use that to hold your groceries so they're not falling all around. And this is solid. This isn't some flimsy plastic or flimsy like cloth cover. It's a solid piece. Alright guys, just a real quick view of the engine bay. Audi just put an engine cover and plastic covers over the fuse box and the battery there. Nothing really special, honestly. It is a 4-cylinder turbo. Pain in the butt with this car is the turbo is actually located on the back side of the engine, back down there. Not very easy to access. So it does have very good sound dampening though. You may be able to see the sound dampening, the material down there on the back by the firewall. Also, here is the hood. This is actually a flame retardant material, and what happens is if you have an engine fire, this will melt and fall on top of your engine, and it helps extinguish the fire and suffocate the flames. So just a fun fact for any of you guys out there that didn't know that. About it. So let's go ahead and set out on this test drive, guys. So again, this is the 2011 Audi A3 2-liter turbo with the Premium Plus package. It's a great car, guys. So just a little bit about it. I bought it in 2015, June of 2015, so a couple of months ago. And so far, it's been a real pleasant surprise. I went from driving a 2013 Subaru Impreza WRX STI hatchback to driving this. So this car is rated at 200 horsepower and 207 foot-pounds of torque from the factory. DIN's a little bit more conservative than SAE. An SAE number maybe for this car would probably run around 230 to 240 horsepower at the crank. Let's go ahead. Just everyday life with the car. How do I like it? Everyday life with the car is phenomenal for an everyday driver. It's an Audi, so it has a decent level of luxury behind it, but it also has that GTI kind of, genealogy, if you will. It shares this engine with the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and that is a pretty solid car. I don't know if many of you guys have driven those. If you have the chance, I would encourage you to do it. But this has the same engine car. Every day, I take this to work. Like I said, it's a daily driver. I drive mixed city and highway driving, and it does really well on both. I'm driving on a Dallas road right now, and if any of you have been to Dallas before, you know these roads are pretty awful. There's a lot of cracks, a lot of bumps. They don't maintain them that well, and it has a good mix between performance and comfort. Alright, so setting off again. Here is a rather rough part of the road. You can probably hear it already. I hope you guys can hear me alright, but so there's just a lot of road noise when you drive on some of these roads, and this car is definitely better amongst the cars that I've owned in Dallas. But it's definitely not the best. There are many cars out there that are much more quiet. There's a lot of cabin noise. Alright, so again, this car is rated at 200 horsepower and 207 foot-pounds of torque. Not a ton, definitely not as much as some of the hot hatchbacks out there, but it's definitely not trying to sell itself as a hot hatchback, which is good. It knows where it is in the market. So I mentioned earlier that this car has 11 speakers. That's not 11 speakers and a subwoofer. That's 11 speakers including the subwoofer. The Bose sound system in here, a lot of people hated Bose for a while. They weren't doing a great job of putting their sound systems in cars, and they didn't really sound good. Their home theaters were doing great, but as far as what they were putting in cars, wasn't that great. This car is definitely doesn't fall into that category. This car doesn't fall into the category of bad bows. One good thing about the car is the fuel economy. Now, it's advertised at 21 city, 30 highway. However, I feel like I get a little bit better than that. I do mixed driving. I do city and highway. I average around 28 to 30, which falls right in between those two figures for the amount of driving that I do in both. So this does take 91 octane. Not full premium, not 93 octane, but not regular unleaded, disappointingly, but it's a turbocharged engine. You should expect to have at least 91 octane when you're turbocharging cars. Alright, so let's get over. I'm going to do a little speed run, guys. Hopefully you can get a pretty good idea of what that is like. So let me turn you guys around and give you a little bit better view. Here's another speed run for you guys. And man, would you look at that, 25 miles per hour. So I have a lot of fun driving this car. It will accelerate really quickly. Again, it's about 3,200 pounds, 3,300 pounds if I'm not mistaken. I think the car's 3,300 pounds from the factory. So for 200 horsepower and 207 foot-pounds of torque to move the car as well as it does, it's actually extremely impressive to me. So the steering on this car is actually kind of artificial. There's not too much feedback. It's very assisted, and it's not as sharp as you would expect. Again, it kind of takes that lineage of the GTI, but I wish that was one thing it would capture a little bit better, is the steering feel. Alright, so guys, I'm going to go through the transmission with you all. The transmission, it's the s-tronic. Again, it's the 6-speed dual-clutch s-tronic transmission. The dual clutch in this, Audi's dual clutch was designed by Borg-Warner. Borg-Warner did a great job, and this transmission has held the test of time, and it does a great job. The shifts up are fantastic, but the first problem I can identify with the car as soon as I test drove it was downshifts took forever. And in some cases I've never actually tested this, but I've heard it can take up to a half second from the time you press the button for the time the downshift executes. So if you're in drive mode, it's not that great, I'll have to say. It's definitely more set for a comfortable ride. If you hit it over to the right from drive, you're in your manual mode. This car will actually shift itself at about, I think 6,000 RPMs, and it'll go ahead, or 6,200 RPMs, it'll shift itself up to the next gear in manual mode. I'm not too happy about that. I guess it just happens, but, you know, I would prefer that it didn't do that. I like a true manual, but there's people out there that are going to mess that up. So obviously Audi had to design it with the safety. Let me go ahead. I've got it in manual mode right now, and we'll go ahead and cycle through some of the gears. Maybe you can hear some of the shifts and how quickly they take place, and you can probably see my hand. So I'm in third gear right now, going 60. Now let's go. Yeah, I'm sure you guys saw that. That was acceleration through a couple of gears. Pretty impressive, actually. I like this car's transmission. That's my favorite thing about this car. One really cool feature about this car is it has launch control. It's something that I found out actually on a whim. I wasn't really even looking for a car with launch control, but I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it for you. And that was 60 miles an hour. And that was 60 miles an hour. Now, I do have to mention one thing that I did upgrade on the car, and you can do it if you have the 8.5-inch wheels. You should be able to do it without any issues. I upgraded the wheels from the 225s, which were stock, to a 235 width tire. That made a world of difference, and it may not sound like a lot to those of you who know tires, because it's not. However, they were brand new tires. The tires that I had on it before were getting a little worn out. But I upgraded these. These are ZR rated, so they're 235 40 ZR 18. Yeah, 18. So I've got it in sport mode, and for those of you who like to drive with a more aggressive transmission, want that sporty feel all the time, it does really well. It's a very smart, logical transmission. So this transmission's got itself in, I think, 4th gear right now, and I'm going 45 miles per hour. Now, at 45 miles per hour sustaining speed, I'm getting right at 30 miles per gallon, 30.9 to be exact. It had to balance out. So that's really good, and that's even in the sport mode. Now, one good feature that I like about the car as well is the ride height. Now, a lot of people get these lowered, but I'm going over a bump here, and it's probably about 4 or 5 inches high. And it's nice to have a car that I don't have to worry about bottoming out on big bumps like that. Here is another speed run. I'm going to go ahead and turn my torque app on. I'm going to go ahead and get it connected to my ECU on my car. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 40 to 60 run for you guys, and that should give you a real idea of the amount of power that this car efficiently puts down. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and drop down speed here to 40 miles per hour. Let's do a 40 to 60 pull. Let's see how smart this transmission is in S mode. Normally I do the shifting on this, and I've gotten pretty good results, but let's see the transmission. Let's see its logic take care of this after this short light. Alright, back at it. So again, I'm going to go ahead and do a 40 to 60 run. This is in S mode. Now normally I shift when I do this test, but this will be interesting to see for me how it does. Alright, so we're ready. We're at 40 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and punch it. Alright. Wow. That was really impressive. That was 2.8 seconds. To give you guys an idea, I had my 2013 STI could do that in 2.7 seconds. That was the fastest I had ever managed to get that car to go from 40 to 60. So this car, hate on it if you think, but it actually puts down the power very well. Alright guys, so I'm pulling back in the parking garage here at my apartment complex. Let's go ahead and wrap up this review. Alright, so guys, here's a quick demonstration of the launch control. More visible, actually. But let's go ahead and walk through the steps to put this car in a launch control. So first, start by not moving, being in a complete stop. Now go ahead and move the shifter all the way back to the S mode, and you can see on the display there it shows the S mode up. And hold down the traction control for about a second, and you see it says ESP off. Now, launch control is enabled. I'm going to go ahead and hold my left foot on the brake, and put my right foot on the accelerator, and you'll see the RPMs will actually climb there. And this is it's not a manual transmission, so pretty cool. And you can see right there, what's that, about 3100, 3250 roughly. So it'll actually launch from that. So let's go ahead and do a quick launch control. Yeah, so pretty quick, guys. Pretty quick. Alright guys, that was my first car review. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments section. Also, if you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe or share me with your friends. So, I am shooting for 1 car review a week. Now, may not always be possible, but that's the goal for now. Definitely not like Motor Trend. I can't put out 3 videos a day. But, yeah, like I said, go ahead and recommend any cars that you want reviewed down below. I'll do my best to get them reviewed for you guys. And if you live local to Dallas, go ahead and send me a message or a comment down below. And let me know what you have, guys. I'd love to review your cars as well. Also, if you're into tuning or modding your car, let me know. I'd be happy to review your car too. A lot of you guys out there throw a ton of money in your cars, and I'd like to share that with the world. Some of these cars are great, and they're better than what they came out of the factory as. So, yeah, let me know. If you're local to Dallas, I'd be more than happy to meet up with you guys and try to get a review done. That's awesome. So, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate you watching the video. Please subscribe and comment below. Thanks, guys.